do. You have to get in there and negotiate. What we have now is leadership, legislative leadership, that just wants to do press conferences. Remember, Dr. King called it the drum major complex. You want to be out front, holding the bullhorn, doing the press conferences, people taking pictures of you looking like you're leading, but everyone wants to do that. That's the fun part. That's the easy part. The hard part is to get in there and say, well, if we have an omnibus spending bill and you want to raise the debt ceiling and also have funding for hurricane relief, then you're also trying to pass a health care bill and tax cuts. Well, we have 50 votes in Congress and the Senate. We'll get you those 50 votes if you include XYZ HBCU funding and also criminal justice reform and also fair housing initiatives in it. That's cutting a deal. Instead of having that, we've got Maxine Waters and Al Green yelling about they're going to impeach the president, and they don't have enough votes to make a peach pie. So it doesn't make any sense what our leadership is doing. They're not leading. They're just being reactionary. They're a publicity force as opposed to an actual force to create opportunity for HBCUs and for our communities.
Well, yeah, because Maxine too busy trying to reclaim her time. That's what she's doing.
When I hear people say that, when she says she's going to reclaim her time, she hasn't passed a bill since, I think, 2010. So how much more time do you need to reclaim if you haven't passed a law in 7 years? Can the voters reclaim their time from you?
Right. This is the HBCU Report. Rob Calloway on the line with Attorney Robert Patillo. Just talking a little legal stuff, sports stuff. You know, it all goes hand in hand these days. Shouts out to Dennis Schroeder, Atlanta Hawks point guard. Hey, man. People, Passion, and Politics, 1 to 4 p.m. is the show, 1380 WAOK and WAOK.com. Check him out. And finally, I got to ask you about this, Rob, before I let you go. This week, we had 10 people arrested. We had some assistant coaches. We had some shoe executives and several other people, recruiters, arrested in connection with this grand scheme in the NCAA where they were funneling money to recruit families, and this thing is getting bigger by the day. So what is your opinion on this, and where do you see this thing going?
Well, it's only going to get bigger. Any of us who have ever worked with highly recruited college athletes or professional athletes, if you go to the bar after the meeting and talk to them, they will all tell you about the stories of how they were getting recruited. Their mama got a car, their cousin got to go to college also, they got money, so on and so forth. So this is an open secret that highly sought after recruits don't just pick the school based off of the library program or based off of the campus atmosphere. That clearly there's more things that go into this, and I think this is only going to expand because as more people get arrested, more people are going to start snitching, which is going to start expanding the probe out further. So we're going to see federal racketeering charges. We're going to see federal charges for various individuals who are connected with this. And frankly, I think this is going to finally put a hole in that whole concept, that fake concept we have of the student athlete or amateur athletes. These are paid entertainers for the school. That's what they are. Their primary job is to provide entertainment services which get the school revenue. Their secondary or maybe even tertiary job is to be an actual student. This may be the final nail to get athletes paid for their time on campuses, reform to practice schedules, reform to travel schedules, to make sure these students are actually learning while they're at high-rated universities and not just being used as cash crops. I think most of us have the story where someone from our hometown went to a large university, and they couldn't read when they got there. They played till they blew up their knee, and then they sent them back home still not able to read.
Absolutely.
We have to make sure that our student athletes aren't just being a pipeline to keep the other school programs open. Even if the football and basketball team are 80 or 90% black, normally the rest of the university might be 20 or 30% black. So you're using free black labor to bring in billions of dollars to keep the rest of the school's programs running. And I don't think anybody thinks that system is being fair. And then maybe one or two people out of that school will end up going pro and making millions of dollars. The rest of them just end up back home with head injuries. So we have to make sure that we're protecting these athletes and changing the culture of the NCAA, not just seeing these students as being a cash crop.
And there it is. That's why he joined the show, bringing perspective to the conversation. People, Passion, Politics is the show. You can hear him Sundays from 1 to 4, 1380 WAOK in Atlanta and WAOK.com. Robert Patillo, Attorney Robert Patillo, Reverend Dr. Robert Patillo. You know, I had to get that in there, Rob. That's our little inside joke. But thank you for joining me, brother. And I appreciate everything that you do in the community and everything that you do on Roland Martin. I see you smacking back, clapping back on Fox News. You know, the perspective you bring on CNN. You know, we really appreciate it, and it always makes me feel good because I know you personally. So, it's always good when you see somebody you know doing pretty well, man. So, thank you.
Thanks. Anytime, you're my day one, so I'm always here for you.
Absolutely, man. Robert Patillo, HBCU Report. We'll be right back after these words.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
From Clark, Atlanta to Morehouse to Spelman. It's the HBCU Report with Rob Calloway.
All right, this is the HBCU Report. Rob Calloway putting a wrap on this week's show. I'd like to thank you guys for checking us out. In case you missed us, you can always go back via Spreaker.com and relive each and every moment of this week's show. You can check us out via the Two Live Stews Radio Network, or you can check us out via the HBCU Report and Spreaker. We're also available on the TuneIn Radio app and iHeartRadio, Google Play Music for Android, and iTunes. So you can always relive any moment of the HBCU Report, even going back to previous seasons. So I'd like to thank this week's guests, Rod Broadway, James Spady, and Attorney Robert Patillo. And of course, I'd like to thank you because without you, the listener, there would be no HBCU Report. So until next week, I want you guys to go out and have a great weekend. And please enjoy some of this great football action.
It's the HBCU Report with Rob Calloway.
Whoa! Wow.
This is amazing.
Seasons may change, but the reaction to the incredible Great Smoky Mountain views from Pigeon Forge have stayed the same. Whether experiencing new attractions for the first time, like Dollywood's new Dropline ride, or finding new favorites like the Titanic Museum, dozens of shows, the Big Wheel, and more, you'll make memories and see scenic mountain beauty that you'll cherish for years to come. Visit mypigeonforge.com now to plan your trip.